Technical difficulties.
All right, fantastic. We're just using a TETN and a webinar and a conference call all at the same time. That's fun. All right. Yeah, I'd like to kick off today's discussion talking about Farm to School and TDA statewide initiative, the resources and tools that TDA can provide if your district or a campus within your district is interested in Farm to School. There we go. Okay. So just as the description for today's presentation included, I'm going to answer 4 questions that I often receive. What is Farm to School? Why is it important? How do you get Farm to School in your district? What resources are available to support Farm to School? And then lastly, I've thrown in one additional question that wasn't initially on the description, and that's what is happening across Texas? Because often it's great to hear ideas, but to really see pictures and read about tangible models of what's happening is really the most helpful. So I threw that in there as well to end up our presentation. So Farm to School is best illustrated through pictures, not words. So for our first question, what is Farm to School? I'm going to show pictures to answer this question. First of all, Farm to School is incorporating local products into school meals. And you can see some pictures there. The first 2 from Harlingen Consolidated ISD and Smithville ISD are photos of a school meal line, cafeteria meal line, that have incorporated Texas products into the meal. We have some beautiful grapefruit and apples, star fruit, kale. And then the third picture is from Idea Public Schools. They have campus farms at several of the charter school campuses, and the farms have a farmer on site and grow fruits and vegetables specific for the cafeteria. So incorporating local products can come from a variety of sources, purchasing directly from a farmer or a rancher, purchasing local products from a distributor that's on contract, or such as Idea, schools can grow their own food if they'd like. And all of the pictures here show fruits and vegetables, but Farm to School includes everything from fruits, vegetables, protein, milk, grains. If it's not found on the cafeteria tray, we are so lucky in Texas. We have a great ag economy. We can get almost everything for a cafeteria meal from a Texas farmer or rancher. So Farm to School is local products and school meals. Farm to School is also providing educational opportunities for students. In that first picture from Magnolia ISD, that is the district chef providing a demonstration and taste test for students. That was actually featured as part of their National School Lunch Week celebration for 2 weeks ago during National School Lunch Week. The middle picture there from Eagle Mountain Saginaw is a presentation to a large group of kids as a school assembly. And it's a little hard to see, but up in the front, the school mascot is leading the presentation, talking about living a healthy lifestyle, being physically active, eating a balanced meal, using the My Plate protocol, using that as an idea for kids to really understand what does a healthy plate look like. And then our last picture there is from Smithville ISD. That is a farmer that comes to the campus and helps with their garden and teaches the kids about gardening and fruits and vegetables. So educational opportunities can, similar to the local products, educational opportunities can look very different for each campus. And Farm to School is also garden-based learning. This is the most descriptive, taking educational opportunities and putting them into a garden setting. So we have some different photos from various school gardens, and that really illustrates that a garden can look very different depending on what the campus setting is. There's no one size fits all for garden-based learning. It can be hosted in raised beds, such as you see from Elgin and Magnolia, or in ground beds, if that works better, like Hart's Bluff has installed, or it could even be container gardens like Smithville has. All of those offer great opportunities for garden-based learning. And what's great about garden-based learning is almost every single subject can be taught in the garden in some way. So our next question is, why is farm to school important? And I pulled out 3 key reasons farm to school is important, and there has been research published that support each of these points. So farm to school is important because when schools purchase Texas food items, they support the local economy. Farm to school is important because when students learn about where their food comes from, they're more likely to develop a positive relationship with healthy food. And farm to school is important because when schools, community members, and farmers and ranchers all come together with a common goal, there's an overall positive impact to the community. So I didn't want to overwhelm anyone with the specific research points that support these. But if you are interested in farm to school and really want to dig into any of these points, we'll get to my contact information later on in the presentation, but please reach out to me. There's some great information that show how important it is for money to stay in the local economy and what that does to businesses and jobs. And there's absolutely a lot of research that supports what happens in a student's life when they develop that positive relationship with healthy food. So I often am asked, how do I get farm to school at my campus, in my district, in my community? And that's a very interesting question. And it's a certainly one of the first steps. Folks are going to want to know, well, I'm interested in having local products in my cafeteria. How do I get that? So what's important to remember is farm to school isn't a program. There's not an application. There's no checklist of things that you have to do in order to say you have a farm to school program. Farm to school is the idea of connecting kids with local products and then teaching them about those ingredients. So it might look very different, as the photos early in the presentation show, that farm to school can look different for different campuses, different communities. There's no one size fits all. So if you're interested, one of the first things to do is research what's available for informational materials and some successful models of what's happening across Texas. That will really help solidify what are your goals, what do you want to do, what would work in your community, which will then, the answers to those questions will really lead you forward. Then the next step is to develop community partnerships. All of the successful farm to school initiatives are built on partnerships. It's not a one person's responsibility to take care of everything on a campus or in a community. It really takes a group of folks that are looking to accomplish the same goal. Once you have a group of partners identified, starting slowly. A key phrase in farm to school is pilot project. Start slowly, see what works, make adjustments as you need to within your district, and then planning carefully to know that things may not go as you initially plan, and that's okay. That's why pilot projects are great, because you can learn from those individual campus projects, or if it's a garden-based learning project, start with one grade level, one classroom, see how it works, and then expand from there. And with any project, whether it's farm to school or another type of project, communication is key. Talking to your community partners, talking to others within the school, whether that be administrators, teachers, school health partners. Communication is always key. So, still sounds great, but you're looking for some resources. Awesome. First, I'd recommend looking online. the Texas Department of Agriculture has a Farm to School initiative website, squaremeals.org/farm to school. And there's a little screenshot of what the homepage for Farm to School looks like. And depending on what part of the community you're in, there's resources specific for schools, there's resources for ag producers, for farmers and ranchers, and for community members. And those resources are tailored to each audience to really help everyone to understand how they can fit into a successful Farm to School project. And TDA also has a great Boost Meal Appeal resources on squaremeals.org. And those resources really speak to school meal programs, cafeteria team members. So if you're looking to, you want to see local products on your cafeteria menu, that's great. If you're not currently working in the school nutrition department at your district, call up the nutrition director, call up the cafeteria manager, and help connect them to this website if they're not aware of it. TDA also provides training and technical assistance. We have some printed resources. There's 2 examples there on the screen. One talks about what Farm to School is, some of what we've talked about today, and then we have a brochure specific about garden-based learning and the benefits of learning in a garden environment. And you got to look and see what partners you have within your organization, within your district, campus, or maybe within your community. Do you have nonprofit organizations that have similar goals that you could partner with? And of course, don't forget about TDA, the Department of Ag. I am the Farm to School Program Specialist. This is what I focus my efforts on. So, as I mentioned, we'll get to my contact information, but I'm always here as a resource to either help you really dig into anything that you see online, or to maybe answer a question that isn't clearly answered online. I'm here to help.
No pun.
Digging in, there's absolutely a pun there. So our last question is, we really want to look at what's happening across Texas. Does anyone in Texas even care about Farm to School? Do folks have school gardens? I encourage you to look at the map we have on squaremeals.org/farm to school. There is a map of Farm to School projects that shows across the state there's strong interest in Farm to School. And each of the dots you see on the map represent a school district that has reported to TDA that they have some aspect of Farm to School, whether that in purchasing local products from a farmer or a rancher, maybe they're purchasing local products through a contracted distributor, or they have garden-based learning. Maybe they're offering field trips to local farms so that students can see on-farm activities. So I really encourage you to look and see what's happening maybe in your district. Maybe there's something happening that you weren't familiar with, or in your neighboring districts. It's always good to find out what are my neighbors doing, and could they be a potential partner for me to learn from. And we also have success stories, spotlight stories, highlighted on squaremeals.org. And those really dig into districts and campuses that have had real success with Farm to School or have something unique about Farm to School. For example, I showed a picture of the Idea Public Schools on Campus Farm. There's a spotlight story about their Farm to School efforts. So if an on-campus farm interests you and you want to see how are they making it work, I encourage you to go online and read the spotlight story about them and see if that sounds like something that would work in your district or maybe in a neighboring district and you think that would be really cool to partner with. We also have some spotlight stories focused on school meal programs, child and adult care food program, and summer meal program. So all of those offer great ideas and models of what's happening successfully in Texas, and could spark some interest, we hope. So lastly, I'd love to answer any questions that anyone may have right now, and give you my contact information. Please call me or email me. If you don't have a question right now, that's certainly okay. If you think about one later, I would love to talk to you and see, maybe explore what could work in your community.
Going back to your slide,
Yeah.
Alyssa, how many on the slide that had the map?
Yes.
How many actually are there?
How many districts? That's a great question. So the map right now illustrates information that was collected in 2012 survey. And more than a third of Texas school districts have some aspect of farm to school. You know, as we said, that could be incorporating local products, or it could be a garden. And I feel there's more as well. Those are folks that responded to our survey. If you go on the map and you don't see your district listed, and you know, hey, we have a garden, reach out to me, because I'm actually conducting another statewide survey right now, and we'll be updating the map to show new survey results. So we definitely want to get your program on the map if it's not already there. But yeah, more than a third of Texas school districts have some sort of farm to school program.
And then how many schools have a actual school farm like IDEA does?
Yeah, that's a great question. Right now, the only one I'm aware of is the IDEA Public Schools, and they have currently 3 campus farms, 3 of their different campuses. Now, I have had a lot of interest come my way about campus farms, so I can see that number expanding relatively quickly soon.
Because I'm sure that could also help offset some of the costs to the campus as well for vegetables, growing your own vegetables.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Barney has a great point. Campus farms can grow fruits and vegetables that are used in the cafeteria, or they could be sold at a farmer's market, or donated back into the community to help with food access. So it certainly offers a great opportunity to increase fruits and vegetables within a community.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, Alyssa. If we have any questions that pop up between now and then, here, we'll get you back on screen to answer.
That'll be great. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. All right. Our next presenter is actually coming to us from Fort Worth, Texas. Her name is Deborah Rhea, and she is the Associate Dean of Research at TCU. She's a professor of kinesiology there at TCU, and on our list here, it had some abbreviations that I'm not so sure this Aggie knows exactly what those abbreviations mean, but I'm sure that Miss Rhea will be more than happy to share that information with us. So, Miss Rhea, go ahead and take it away.
Okay, so.
And there you go. Excellent.
Yeah, you can see my PowerPoint?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let me go ahead and get to the. How's that? Can everybody hear me?
We can hear you good on this end.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone. As Barney told you, I'm from TCU, and I'm the president-elect for our TAHPERD organization, which is the Health, Physical Education, Recreation, and Dance group in the state. And y'all came to me, came to our group, the TAHPERD group, and said that you were really interested in what was going on with physical education, recess, childhood obesity, and how do we really get to some of the information we need to know in order to know that we have quality programs out there, and what are some of the questions we need to ask, where are some of the directions, or what are some of the directions we need to go. So just to give you a little background on me before I get started, I train physical education teachers in the state. I do in-service trainings for physical education in the state. And my newest project is launching multiple recesses in schools across the state. I'm starting in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but we're seeing great success so far in that direction. My philosophy at this point is that we should have physical education daily and recess multiple times daily throughout a school day. So that kind of gives you an idea of where I'm coming from as I do the talk. But I also want to say before I get started on the slides that childhood obesity did not start just yesterday. As we all know, it's been building for about 30 years. And as we think about how obesity came to be, it really does go to the first presentation, which is farm to school. I love that, in that we've got to eat right, and the other part is we have to move. And those two pieces seem so simple when we think about them, but in reality, if we're not moving throughout the day in our school and classrooms, and if we're not eating right, then there's no wonder that we're not falling asleep in our chairs, being bored with what's being presented, and actually not being able to take in the information that's given to us. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. For many of you, you may already know the shape of the nation, but I wanted to give you a little bit of a report, some from the U.S. perspective and some from Texas. So let's start with the nation. We have 6 states that require PE in grades K through 12. What does that really mean? Well, Texas is one of them that does require PE. Illinois is one. There are 4 others across the country. But what that shows you, it's a big deal if you require PE. And why do we require it? Because if we don't, it would be removed. And the reason it would be removed is because the philosophy across our country right now is that we need to just keep shoveling in content as fast as we can. So as we move through the different aspects of this, I just want you to think about how schools, administrators, parents, communities think about physical education where you are, and whether or not they see it as an important factor, and if they do see it as an important factor, why? And if they don't see it as one, how do we educate them to become more interested in having PE in the schools? Since in Texas we do have the requirement, schools do have to adhere to a certain extent, but I would say that there are still districts out there that do not adhere to the strict policies that we have. Almost half of the U.S. students do not receive PE in an average week. Obesity will cost the U.S. an estimated $344 billion by 2018. I think this is interesting. On recess is only required in about 9 states. We don't require it in Texas. But what we see is that most schools across the nation offer no more than 1 recess and usually 0 recesses. So you can just imagine if you were sitting in that chair like you're doing right now without being able to get up and move around more than every 45 minutes to an hour, and even at that, it's strictly just to get up to go to the bathroom and go back to your seat. If you were sitting like that from 8 to 4, like these kids are in the schools, what does that really do for you? And that's part of the concern that I have as an educator, is that we need more movement out there in the schools. And then only 14 states require fitness assessments. I'll say more about this in just a minute, but I will put this blanket statement out that I feel like the U.S. is pretty much what I call obsessive compulsive. We have OCD. And the reason I say that is because about every 3 years we decide that we don't like whatever's going on and we start changing things again. And one of the things that we're really on right now is assessments. And the big deal is that every school district needs to have all these assessments. And so physical education has jumped on the bandwagon and thinks that we need to have fitness assessments for everybody. And my philosophy as far as the research goes and what I've seen with working with kids is the more we think about just measuring with an assessment, what good does that do us 10 years from now with what that assessment meant on how fit you are, healthy you are, and where you are 10 years from now with, well, I don't have an assessment anymore, so I'm going to do and be as I please. And I do the same philosophy with the kids that I train in the college setting. I don't ask them to pass a fitness assessment. I demand from them every day to be able to do things in the classroom or in the gym that require fitness. But I don't ask them to do an assessment on that. Why? Because if I don't teach them right now how to be good stewards of activity as they grow older, and that physical activity should be valued as part of their lifelong skill, they will not be the mentors and the role models in 10 to 15 years that I see in them right now. The assessment will make no difference on that. So as I talk about these things, assessment to me is kind of an area where I think we are going overboard. You can see here, this is our Texas State of Nation profile, and it gives you some ideas of what's going on across our state. Amount of PE required. We do not require the amount in all K-12 settings. We do require that PE be done, but not how much should be done at all K-12 settings. We do require it K through 8. You see in 2010 we did. And then graduation required, we have to have 1 credit of high school PE before the students can graduate. We don't have exemptions and waivers, which is a good thing. I hope we don't put that in at any point. You can see that on a physical activity perspective for K-8 kids, it's now 101 to 150 minutes, and you'll see in a minute where that actually breaks down elementary to middle school. There's not a school wellness policy, although most schools in the state of Texas do have them, but it's not required. And we do have what's called TEKS, which is Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills, that are state standards, just as we have NASPE standards, which are national standards for all states to pretty much try to move towards. We don't have state curriculum for physical education, but there are physical education curriculums out there that individuals can purchase if they want to, or they usually just put together their own. Class size, you notice that it's larger than what a class size for a classroom teacher would be. And the words on the statements for the bill say, as long as the classroom is safe or stated to be safe, then you can actually go higher than 45 to 1. So many schools across Texas have 60 to 100 students in the class. We do have online PE as something that can be used as a substitution, and we use Fitnessgram as our assessment profile, which is not normative but more criterion based, and we do require licensed professionals to be the physical education teachers, and we do allow temporary certification. You can see here that cardiovascular passing rates for third graders aren't on here, but 4th graders are pretty high. But as you move through the age from 4th grade through 12th grade, you see that the passing rates for cardiovascular endurance go significantly, they decrease significantly. The message that I want to give you on this is that many administrators look at these types of results, and instead of saying we really need to improve our kids' cardiovascular endurance, many administrators will say things like, you know, if kids really are this disinterested in it and they probably do things better outside of a school setting, I just don't understand why we're doing physical education in the schools. My statement for that would be, these kids need movement and they need fitness, walking programs, running programs, biking programs, whatever would work for them as they get older, that move us more towards recreational activities and less towards athletics. So the role of physical education against childhood obesity. 3 areas that we emphasize in a physical education model: movement, knowledge, and socialization. So if any of you are high and big on the domains of learning, we go across all 3 domains of learning, meaning the movement side, the cognitive side, and the social affective side. What does that mean for what we do in physical education? It truly is what it says. You know, you could have recess out there, which is unstructured and more play related, but that does not get to a cognitive component or the actual how we move properly with skills. And so what physical education does that recess doesn't do is it allows students to be able to learn strategies, different types of rule accommodations. It could be lead-up games that they might then be able to play at a beach or in their backyard or on a playground or in the park. How do we fight obesity with physical education? Well, here are 2 statements that I feel are very important moving forward as I explain the rest. Physical education in the schools guarantees that children have opportunities to be active during the school day. Quality physical education goes beyond providing activity opportunities and promises to provide children with opportunities to learn through meaningful and appropriate instruction. So what I'm going to add here is that a quality program not only gives us the movement capability, but it also gives us the understanding of why we need to be active, and it also gives us the affective side, which is the value of why we should be active, because we love how it makes us feel. It creates higher self-esteem. It lowers cholesterol issues, type 2 diabetes, things like that, which is the cognitive side. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into the quality, what makes or constitutes a quality program, and I'm going to focus on what we're doing in Texas, but I'm also going to say that we have a great national organization called Shape America, and Shape America really has outstanding resources that states can use, or states can come up with their own resources on top of what the national program does. But this you see on this picture here, Opportunity to Learn, these are documents that are put out for elementary, middle school, and high school. They're on the Shape America website. They can be purchased, or if you're a member of Shape, you can download these types of documents free one time with no charge. What is Opportunity to Learn? It is giving guidelines for what different types of situations do students need in order to learn information. And this would go across lots of different activities, but rhythm and dance, tumbling or balance movement, types of body awareness types of activities. It could be fitness activities. It could be sports, individual and dual sports, or team and group sports, but we really try to keep them more minimized on the team sports and go more towards individual dual when we can. Outdoor education. And let me tell you, outdoor education is becoming huge from the K through 12 setting, not just middle school and high school anymore. In fact, I'm doing an in-service this next week with Fort Worth ISD on outdoor education and doing some things on school sites related to outdoor ed for K through 5 grade levels. And then when we talk about meaningful content, it's what are the criteria that are needed in order for students to really know how this is meaningful for them, not 10 years from now, but right now. And so an example I'll give is being able to talk to students about if they are really wanting to concentrate on feeling good and being able to focus better and be in an environment where they're not falling asleep or they don't feel sluggish, then the best way to do that is by eating right, which goes back to what the first speaker talked about, and then being active and making sure that they create breaks every hour to be able to do the kinds of activities that they really feel are meaningful. And those meaningful times are maximum participation, being able to work with others in a meaningful way, being able to socialize in those appropriate contexts, and then appropriate instruction. And I will talk about appropriate instruction in just a second. So NASPE is our national group called National Association of Sport and Physical Education. They are under the umbrella of Shape America, and their state content, or their content standards, have actually been condensed from 6 to 5. But you'll see on here that if you were looking at Standard 1, you can see that this has to do with moving, that this physically literate person would be able to demonstrate a variety of skills. Standard 2 has to do with cognitive, meaning that we understand the knowledge and principles and tactics of movement. Standard 3 goes across knowledge again for fitness levels and activity levels. Standards 4 and 5 go across the social and emotional through being able to show personal and social responsibility to self and others, and then that value piece that I've been talking about. We in the state have very similar content standards that we use whenever we're putting together instructional objectives and lesson plans. You see over here this National Standards Outcomes. You can actually purchase this from the Shape America site as well. The physical activity guidelines is a little bit different, and I think it's very interesting to bring up at this point. There are 4 guidelines related to physical activity in our country, and one of them is that children should accumulate at least 60 minutes a day. Well, if they're doing that, if they're getting 60 minutes of activity a day, it should help curb the obesity rates in our country. The way that we eat is one part of the problem, but the lack of movement, the sedentary behaviors that our kids have is really even more magnified than the way they're eating. If they start moving more, their eating choices could change. Even if we set a goal that, if they're moving 60 minutes a day and they take out one 44-ouncer big gulp a day, that could significantly change the amount of obesity we have, not only in our state, but across the country. And in our state right now, overweight and obese, we're somewhere in that 60% range. And some areas of the state are much more overweight and obese than other areas of the state, but just in general, it's about 60%. Guideline 2 talks about having 15 minutes at a time of this physical activity, which is awesome. And then it talks on the last guideline about no more than 2 hours sitting before you take another break. And just to give you an aside, I came back from Finland 2 years ago. I did a sabbatical over there for 6 weeks. And they believe that we should be doing 120 minutes a day of activity. And every 45 minutes, we should have a 15-minute break. So this sounds like very doable compared to what Finland's doing right now. I would hope you could see. And then Guideline 3 talks about having different types of activities for the participation for these children as they go across the K-12 setting. What's appropriate and what's inappropriate? Well, we have guidelines at elementary, middle, and high school level to show that. And when I train teachers, this is exactly what I use, are these guideline books. But I just wanted to give you an example of what this looks like. It's a clear purpose of clear goals and objectives for student learning and performance are communicated to students, parents, guardians, and administrators. And inappropriate would be they should be busy, happy, and good with no emphasis on learning. And what I want to emphasize here is there are two philosophies. One philosophy is that we really need to educate our students, our parents, our guardians, administrators. And the other is, well, we just need to get them moving out there. Just let them go, let them go. And the biggest philosophy that's riding right now for physical education is, in a structured environment, we have to have the learning and performance goals that these kids are going after. This is a very busy slide. All I'm trying to show you here is that we have a checklist that looks at what a highly qualified or quality PE program would look like. And you can see on number 2, it says that they should have a minimum of 150 minutes per week if they're elementary and 225 minutes per week if they're middle or high school, or they have at least 3 class periods per week for all grades the entire school year. That would be a quality program, having one or the other. And then having a certified physical education teacher for the quality program. Class size is definitely part of it. And just another aside on this is that we as TAHPERD, which is the Texas Association of Physical Education, Health, Recreation, and Dance, which is the state organization for our Shape America group, we have an exemplary program checklist that teachers from across our state can submit to identify what type of exemplary program they are. So there are different levels of exemplary, and to truly be exemplary, they would have to have no more, I think it's 35 to 1, even though that's not the requirement across our state. That's to have as an exemplary program. So that kind of gives you an idea of what's going on with what we think is exemplary versus what the state might require as an exemplary program. But you can see here, these are all different areas that talk about what would be quality. You can see on number 9, looking at maximum participation. You can see on number 8 that we look at different assessments. Are we emphasizing different types of evaluation from administrators to make sure that the programs are doing what they're supposed to do? And is there feedback for improvement of students, peers, and parents so that they know what they need to improve on or how they can improve to be better stewards as active participants. You can see here on the left, I've got the two websites up, shapeamerica.org and TAHPERD.org, and both of those are great resource sites for where you can find the things that I've talked about today, the NASPE content standards, the Texas content standards, the guidelines, the appropriate, inappropriate practices, and also some assessing national standards metrics. They've got that on the Shape America website as well. And I hope you see the significance of a picture like this, but at this time I can entertain questions. I didn't put my contact information up here because I wasn't sure if you'd want to contact me or if you'd rather contact the TAHPERD office. But if you do want to contact me directly, I can get that information to you all, and you can have that for further knowledge.
Are there any questions? Ms. Ray, we don't have any questions here that have come through the webinar.
Okay.
But if people do have questions, y'all can type in those questions there for us to see, so we could get those to Ms. Ray, or we could address them right now while we're on the webinar. Ms. Ray, we've had several people request your contact info, and
okay.
If you'll just say it, we can type that in right now.
Sure. My email is d.rhea@tcu.edu.
Phone?
Phone is 817-257-5263.
Thank you, Ms. Ray. We greatly appreciate your time and effort on getting with us today and showing us the presentation and talking about what quality physical education programs should look like. We appreciate it very much.
Absolutely, I enjoyed doing it. Thank you.
Oh, we do have a question.
Okay.
One slide says
the question on your slide where you were highlighting the requirements, and I believe it was number 2, where it talked about, well, no, you just passed it, where it was what a quality program should be, and one of them talked about 225 minutes and 100. Yes, ma'am, right there.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some confusion there. And what that list is, that's just your list of recommendations, correct?
Those are yeah. So the national standards, and so Shape America and TAHPERD, which are our two state and national organizations, they have said for you to have a quality PE program, this would be one of the standards that you should be shooting for.
Right. And I think where confusion is coming in is people are interpreting, they're thinking that you extrapolated that from law when actually that's your recommendation. And what law actually says is that students that are in elementary school should have a minimum of 135 minutes, 30 minutes a day, or 135 minutes per each school week. And then for middle school students, it's actually 4 semesters of moderate to vigorous physical activity daily for 30 minutes a day, or 225 minutes per 2 school weeks. So I think people were getting confused there.
Okay.
Versus what the recommendation was versus what statute is currently for the state of Texas.
That's correct, yes. And so what you just stated is actually correct, that the state they do have different standards than what we've put in the highly qualified or quality PE program.
Yes, ma'am. Excellent. Thanks for going back to that and letting us clarify.
Yeah, no problem.
Any other questions, Michelle? All right. Well, again, Ms. Ray, thank you very much for your time. We greatly appreciate it. And if we have any other questions that come in through the webinar, we can email those questions to you, and you'll have the contact information where you can respond to those individuals directly.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Have a good day.
All right. And our last presenter today is me. Not necessarily that we're saving the best for last. I wouldn't go as far as say that. But on our October 15th webinar, there was some information that I shared using the report generator and how to get to that and look that information up to see your Fitnessgram results. And we had quite a bit of feedback. Am I showing my screen? Okay. Well, it's not working here. Well, it's not letting me get down to do it. There. Now I think everybody can see my screen here in a second on webinar. But what we had quite a few questions as far as what in the world was I talking about? Where does this exist? How long has it existed? Where did it come from? And so I just wanted to kind of take time to clarify those few questions. And to get to the report generator, what you would need to do is pull up our web page, the home page, and go over here to the A to Z index on our home page. Click A to Z index. And then once you're there, you're going to click on the letter P as in Paul. And you're going to find PFAI, Physical Fitness Assessment Initiative. And that takes you to the home page for the actual Physical Fitness Assessment Initiative. And if you scroll down to the bottom, here's information about getting started, and the links that are on this page also can help you find how to get a Tees account, Fitnessgram manual, the procedures manual, those kinds of things are all there. But here's the link right here for aggregate fitness results. So if you click on this link, it takes you to the actual aggregate fitness data webpage where we have the aggregate results posted by district and campus, or I'm not sure if 2007, 2008 are by campus. I think those are only by district. But starting in 2009, so 2008, 2009, and previous and prior, or after that, we have the results posted by campus and district, and all that information goes all the way up to the 12-13 academic year. And for the 13-14 academic year, that data will be available sometime late in January, because we've actually entered into a contractual agreement with the Cooper Institute, and they are performing that data analysis. So that information will not be available until January of late January 2015. But here's the link for the report generator. So you click on this link, and this takes you to the report generator. So you would actually select your school year, and then your district, campus, grade, and gender. So this, you can dial this down by grade level and by gender and get very specific. And then here in the report variables, there are over 60 different report variables that you can run. And if you hold the control key down, you can select multiple variables. And basically our IT folks here at the agency, we would get so many calls every year coming in that this is actually the reason why they developed the report generator. And those 60 different report variables that are listed there are all reports that they were being requested to run queries on. So now you have the power at your fingertips to do that yourself. And it does have the 13-14 academic year listed on here, because we had schools this past year submitting data via two different avenues. One of those was the Fitnessgram 10 web-based application, and then if you used versions 8.6 or 9.3 of Fitnessgram, that data was actually submitted to the agency through the PFAI application. So if you used the PFAI application in 13-14, then you can go to Okay, apparently we were having technical difficulties for our TETN connection. I apologize for that for webinar participants. You're lucky you get to still hear my voice. So the data for 13-14 is there if you use the PFAI. So we'll just play with this. So for the 13-14 academic year, we're going to select Aldine ISD. And so then we'll say Gray Elementary, and we want all third graders. We'll go with boys, and the total number of students tested. Then click Generate Report, and then it puts it in an Excel spreadsheet for you, and pulls that information up. If this antiquated computer will do it. No, it has to be one or the other. That's kind of, there's limitations, but and I don't know what just happened. It wouldn't pull it up for me. We'll try this again. Hit Generate Report. Open. Yeah. So it tells you school year, campus ID, grade, male, and there were a total of 101 males that were tested. So that's what the report generator does. And again, this is for 2013-14. It would only pertain to those schools that submitted via the PFAI system. For those schools that submitted with Fitnessgram 10, you would actually have to run your reports within Fitnessgram 10. And then obviously anything prior to the 13-14 academic year was all submitted through the PFAI, so all of the data will be there. And just a couple of clarifications on PFAI and Fitnessgram 10. There's been numerous districts that have chosen to upgrade to Fitnessgram 10, and they've done so. But then I'm also approving a tremendous amount of Keys account application and access for the PFAI application. And I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page with, if you have upgraded to Fitnessgram 10 and your district's student information systems vendor data extract has been approved by Human Kinetics, then there is not a need for your district to apply for a TEAS account or apply for access to the PFAI application. Once you have entered your data into Fitnessgram 10, if you're using Fitnessgram 10 this year, then that's all that you do. Once you enter in your data is there, and there's no need to upload anything to the agency. If you have Fitnessgram 10 and you do try to upload your data to the agency, you're going to get some type of user error every time that you do it. So I just wanted to make sure that I put that out there and to try to get that clarified for everybody. And if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call or shoot me an email with the information. And with that, that's all the information that I have. Michelle, do you have anybody ask any questions or? That you're going to need to contact Human Kinetics for a difference on those two applications. And I believe that number is 1-800-747-4457. Any others? All right. Well, thank you very much. I apologize to our TETN participants. Don't know what happened there with the connection, but thank you for your time. And if you do have any other questions or concerns, you can email me. Yes. Hey, Barney. Okay, I'm glad that someone out there spoke up, because on my end it was telling us the connection, we were disconnected for some reason. Okay, so were you able to hear everything? Oh, okay, excellent. Yes. To so to run the report, did they want me to go all the way back to the beginning on where to locate it? Okay, so you go to the PFAI page, and then you're gonna click on report generator at the bottom of the page, and then that's going to take you to the report generator page. So you're going to select your school year, select your district, select whatever campus you want to run a report for, grade level, whether it's male or female. You can't run a report for both. It has to be either male or female, so boys or girls. And then you can click multiple report variables there. So you just select whatever variables you want run. We selected total students tested, and then you just hit click to generate the report, and then it pulls that information up for you. So I mean, it's pretty user friendly, and as far as data analysis for anything prior to the 13-14 academic year, you would have to pull that information and run your queries and your reports yourself, or just go to the aggregate fitness data result page and click on one of those Excel spreadsheets there to pull up all state information that is there. But this is a good one for individual districts who want to run reports on. Yeah. So to go back to the aggregate page, from the main PFAI webpage, you then just click on the aggregate fitness assessment results, and that takes you to the fitness data page. So we have the data posted beginning in 2007, 2008, when Fitnessgram first was implemented, all the way up to the 12-13 academic year. And again, the 13-14 data will be posted sometime in late January with the analysis that the Cooper Institute is doing. So you would just click on one of these links. So click on 12-13, hit open. And this may take some time because it's a rather large file. If for what academic year? If your information, if you're looking for your information and you don't see your district information there, then on PFAI, then that means that your district didn't upload the information during that year, and there's no way to go back and open up the system to do that, because now we're already set for the for the 14-15 academic year. So if you're looking for your district information and it's not there, then our IT folks have explained to me that if it's not there, then it was never submitted. Well, this is the 2012-13 aggregate fitness results for every district that submitted their data for the 12-13 academic year. So it has, your district name, the campus ID, the campus name, what grade, the gender, total students tested, and their percentages and their scores. So that's all the information that's on these links when you pull that information up. And again, if you have any questions, my email address is william.fudge@ta.state.tx.us. And you can also reach me via phone by calling 512-463-9581. And again, for whoever was asking the question about, I don't see my district listed, if you're talking about 1314, you know, that information isn't, if they submitted 1314 and you don't see it there, then the possibility could be that they also might have entered all their data in Fitnessgram 10, so you would have to go to the web-based application to see those data results if your district used Fitnessgram 10. But for those districts that use the Physical Fitness Assessment Initiative application, the PFAI application, you can use the report generator for 1314 to look up your results. We don't have the aggregate results for 1314 posted yet. There was only a little over 300 districts that submitted via PFAI, and we had over 600 districts that reported through Fitnessgram 10. And that's what the Cooper Institute's actually doing, is they're taking the PFAI data and making that mesh with the information that was submitted through Fitnessgram 10, so we can have one big data analysis report that comes out late January. Any other questions? All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us today. Hope everybody stays dry, and if you're in those areas that need rain, I hope you're getting a lot of it. Everybody take care. Have a great week. And our next webinar / TEPN is going to be in April, late April. I want to say that date's April 29th. I can't exactly remember, but I've sent out multiple information regarding date changes in the additional dates of the TEPN. I believe it was also on the agenda for this TEPN that was sent out to service centers and on the health and physical education listserv. So take care. Have a great rest of the week. And thanks again for joining us. We greatly appreciate it.